I didn't sleep all night and was a bag of SHT at work the next day. Jen started 2 weeks of night shift that day, so at least we wouldn't be home together for that time and we could both cool down and revisit this later. Dinner would be in the fridge for me every day with an "I love you" note. She would text frequently, but I kept my answers short. Thursday night of the next week of her night shift, I go to the PC to work over some files and I notice an email notification on her account, and it's a hotel reservation for a good hotel that's close to my office. I know it well as I go often with coworkers. I am thinking she is supposed to be working, but maybe she wants to apologize and take me for a night out. The next morning I am waiting for her text or call to invite, but only asking me how my day was. Then she says she's so happy she only has to work one more night of the night shift. How does she have one more night and a hotel reservation? I was sick, stressing in my office. Started looking through some dating sites, especially profiles with no pics. I can't find anything. Paul pops in and asks me if I want to go for lunch and sees I am a mess. He asks what's up and I tell him. Paul is hard but has always supported my relationship with Jen. He suggests we go get lunch at hotel restaurant and I scream no, not that place. He didn't know that part. We actually go for lunch and I am sick to my stomach, can't eat. Don't even want to drink. He says I can't work like this and I can take as much leave as I can. Paid and unpaid if needed. I told him I can't be there at my house anymore. I can't see her and a part of me wants to believe it isn't true. I rush home and put as much of my SHT in my car as I can and go back to the office. Paul says let's go stake out the hotel and wait for her to check in. I mean, I am no pie or detective, I am more like Inspector Closure. I was really resisting this, but I really had to know. So we go set up in the lounge bar and I start pounding them back and waiting, still hoping this wasn't real. Around 6:30 Paul taps me on the shoulder and there she is at the front desk and not in uniform. I want to strangle her, scream, spit, cry, I don't know. We wait for 10 minutes after she gets in the elevator and Paul and I walk to the front desk. I ask the reception to put me through to Jen's room and it rings. As soon as she answered I just started yelling into the receiver and she sounded confused. "Jen, I told you if you did this that we would be over. I am done, wedding off, relationship over," and I hung up and got my ass out of there. Now where to go? I went back to Paul's and now my phone is lighting up. The only person I called was my dad and explained in PG-rated terms what happened and I need to leave town for a bit. It wasn't a discussion and I feel bad for how I spoke to my old man. Phone didn't stop for 2 days. Everyone under the sun called me and I didn't answer. I didn't know what to do. The only way I could explain how I felt was like walking around underwater. Paul mentioned some financial things I should deal with to protect myself. I wasn't even thinking about that. The house, wedding, loans for the car. We kept separate accounts, and one for the wedding and one for house-related bills. I couldn't care less. The next day I emailed Jen and said this would be our last contact and I was leaving the city for a while and the wedding and everything else was off. I called my dad back and spoke with him at length, and while he was crushed he understood I needed time and space. He said he still hopes we could work it out. 10 days later I boarded a plane and traveled to Bali. I never answered any of her or anyone's messages or emails. I don't know if she left the hotel that night or stayed. I didn't care. I eventually landed in Bali and climbed into a bottle for the next month and went offline with the exception of my dad and work. Didn't even care if I got fired. I wish I could say I enjoyed myself, but was mostly just drunk. I felt a lot of rage and shame and hate about how things went down. I kept in touch with Paul about my leave and after 3 weeks he asked if I could run back to Tokyo to look after some things. We talked about the new global virus and I mentioned coming back to Canada to settle things there as I was hearing rumors of potential lockdowns. I got to Tokyo on March 1st and it felt good to get back to work even if it was just a little. After hearing lockdowns were coming, Paul mentioned me getting back to Canada, but I said May. It's only going to be 30 or 60 days. I need some time to plan my next move. 30 to 60 days, FCK me. I was still in Japan for another year before I got vaccinated. But by this time I didn't really want to go home. My house was rented out and I was talking to family but refused any info about Jen. On Sept 21 I received news my dad had a heart attack and was doing well but would need a triple bypass. This surgery is serious, not as serious as it was 40 years ago, but I still want to see him, and just in case. I know when I get home it is going to turn into a shit show and I really don't want that, just want to see my folks and thank Paul for all he has done for me, even as selfish as I was. But I know I am going to have to see her and I have no idea how I am going to feel or think. I am so sorry for the length of this, even still I left a lot out. Any advice, tips or insults would be appreciated. I am flying out in 4 hours and will land in about 24 hours. Here are some best comments. Man, this is so difficult. You absolutely need to see your dad and I assume that she is still in the area. Seeing her in any capacity is going to test your resolve. One critical question I have for you is if the time away has diminished your feelings for / about her or has it taken the edge off? If they are still intense, and you still absolutely want nothing to do with her, I would be very proactive about planning your trip and make it clear to anyone you will be hanging with that you do not want to see her or talk with her. If you are open to seeing her, again, have a game plan. Will you be aloof, engaging, friendly but not too, what? BTW, you did the right thing emo. A series of casual hooks-ups versus a committed relationship with the only man she ever loved. She made her choice and you made yours. Strength and clarity to you op. Hope you'll update about your trip. I have already seen my dad since landing and he looks pretty good actually. He stated he was looking at getting some new parts for that old clunker of a heart and starting a more active life once done. To answer your other question, I still do have immense feelings for her. That will never change. Will we be getting back together? Absolutely no. I have spent the past year and a half psychoanalyzing myself and our relationship and have come to some realizations about not only myself, but our entire friendship / relationship. I am in a good place right now and am looking forward to putting this behind me. I don't know how to update the story as I am a new user, but I will give an update once something actually happens. Greywall her, be indifferent. If you still hate her, that means you still have an ounce of love for her. Opposite of love is not hate but indifference. Judging from what you wrote, you do have the mental fortitude to do this, good luck bro! !